Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So today is Thursday, 16th of May, 2024. And welcome everybody to our next reading of Jaiva Dharma. And we're into the 18th chapter. Fascinating topic, Veda Abheda Tattva. So we'll have a kirtan and then we'll begin our reading. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Braja Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Oh, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Oh, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gouda Hari Bol, Nitai Gouda Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gouda Hari Bol, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai. Nityananda Rai, Jaya Nityananda Rai, Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Jai Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari, Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radha Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhabhika Gridhare Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Vrishabhana Nandini Vajeshwari Radharani Ki Jai Nityananda Rai Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Surabhi Kunj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Vaishnav Sabhaboma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudi Vedantaracharya Ki Jai Jai Rasik Siromani Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya Ki Jai Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Shivata Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gauda Parsada Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikahol Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Shri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Anta Dweep Mayapur Simanta Dweep Gautram Dweep Madhya Dweep Kola Dweep Ritu Dweep Dana Dweep Rodam Dweep Rudra Dweep Atmaka Navadweep Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwara Savar Matmika Shri Braja Mandal Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund, Shamakund, Ganga Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Shrimati Yogamaya Purnamasi Devi Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai. Ketra Mandal Ki Jai. Sarva Vigna Vanasakari Shina Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhakta Prava Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charidam Ki Jai, Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai, Chari Acharya Ki Jai, Akada Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai, Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Anantakota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Samagat Bhakt Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Gyanaatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Padantikam Priya Swarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahaja Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swabila Sarupe, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuranavar Tinokalo,
Samadapaitam unnata ujjvala rasam swabhakti shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Tutikatam Sadipita Sada Hridare Kandare Swaratu Vasachinandanaha Yam Prabhajantam Anapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Tarabhavidustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadita Rangamadye Kripamai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Varadram Tato Mamanasti Gatina Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tadasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And again, I'm offering Dandavat pranams to our dearmost Namo Bhakti Vinodaya, Satchitananda Namine, Gauda Shakti Swarupaya, Rupa Nuga Vrayate, and to all our illustrious Rupa Nuga Guru Vargya, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi Devaras of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavyevacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnave Namo Namaha. So, continuing with our reading of Jaiva Dharma, but we'll first of all again chant the Falshruti and appreciate the essence of this Jaiva Dharma that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has capsulated in these 14 verses. So we'll go from page 831, which is the last 4 verses today. Jaiva Dhamma Pateshe Shuddha Bhakti Hoy Jaiva Dhamma Napadile Kavi Bhakti Noy. One who reads Jaiva Dhamma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shuddha Bhakti. But one who does not read Jaiva Dhamma can never attain Bhakti. Jaiva Dhamma is the essence of all Shastra. We spoke a couple of days ago how Bhaktivinoda Thakur introduces Srimad Bhagavatam right in the first verse of his Falshruti. All the way through it's referencing Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the Upanishads, all the Vedas, especially in our line of Rupa Goswami, which we're hearing in the next verse. But all of the essence of Shastra is contained. It's described like all the oceans in a single jar. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so erudite, and he could span all these scriptures for references. And we appreciate this especially in this 18th chapter, where he draws so many references to substantiate the inferiority and total um, uh, uselessness of Mayavad philosophy in the form of Brahm, Parinambad, and Vivartavad. So he uses so much Shastra quotes to support this dismissing these misinterpretations of the scripture, which only happens in Kali Yuga. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has taken that trouble to purify the jiva's doubts about Mayavad. Arupanuga abhiman pate drita hoy, Jaivadama vimukake dharma hine koi. Faithfully reading Jaivadama will surely strengthen one's abhiman as a Rupanuga, follower of Rupa Goswami. One who is averse to reading Jaivadama is certainly devoid of religious principles. So our association, our connection, our mood of complete connection with Srila Rupa Goswami is our goal of life. Rupa Goswami is bringing us to the Nishta, Radha Nishta of Sri Radhika, the principal maidservant of Sri Radhika, Rupa Manjari, and the mouthpiece, the person for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has enunciated all of Mahaprabhu's instructions and teachings to um, benedict the jivas with this remarkable gift of Manjari Bhav coming from Rupa Goswami through Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, etc. All are Guru Vargas. So when it says here Rupa Goswami, this is indicating our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. This is what it's indicating. So to become a follower of Rupa Goswami indicates the entirety of the Guru Varga. Java Jivane Je Pada Jaiva Dharma Bhakti Manse Jana Brita Jnana Karma. One who faithfully reads Jaiva Dharma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of gyan and karma. So we use gyan to clear the doubts of our avidya. But once the doubts have been cleared and purified, then we no longer have any attachment to the thorny thickets of gyan, it's described. There are many intricacies within the Shastras, but our essence is on cultivating devotion directly. Bhaktyamam abhijananti yavanyaschasmi tatvataha tato man tatvato natva vishate tat anantaram. We said this verse yesterday. We posted this verse. Very beautiful. Um, to appreciate constantly that our vision and focus is only on cultivating that devotion in the heart. But we have to have knowledge to know where to place our devotion. Are we placing our devotion in Vaikuntha? Is that our aspiration? Or is it Mathura or Dwarka, Ayodhya? Or is it Madhurya Dham of Vrindavan Dham? So all of our Guru Varga is indicating to come to Braja Prem. This is the gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu specifically is giving Braja Ras, which was not given previously. So there's so much wealth of descriptions of this Braja Ras that we have available today, more than any time previously in history, practically. Even at the time of Mahaprabhu, it wasn't so prolific, the writings and teachings of Mahaprabhu. He was initiating the process of Brajaras. He was setting the foundations. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they laid strongly the platform for our practice. Then coming through the Guru Varga, it's all depending on our connection with our Guru Varga. This is so essential. And this Jaiva Dharma, it completely cements this connection because all the teachings are only coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, coming from the six Goswamis, coming from all of the Guru, particularly, of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself. We call the Sapta Goswami, the seventh Goswami. He did the same activities as the Goswamis in Vrindavan. There were six Goswamis doing the excavation, rediscovery, writing, laying the foundation for posterity in Vrindavan. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur was single-handed here in Goradam, unveiling the different Leela Stalis, the places of pastimes here in Goradam. It was due to Bhaktivinoda Thakur that we know where the Yogpit is today, that we know where Godram Dweep is today, we know where Madhya Dweep is today, we know where Kola Dweep, we know where Ritru Dweep is, we know where Modern Dweep is, Rudra Dweep. We know all of these only because of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has cleared our path here to Goradam. And he's inviting us to come here through his teachings of Jaiva Dharma. He's raising this flag of Goradam very, very prominently. So it's the most wonderful Shastra to regularly drink daily, as he's saying here. Reads Jaiva Dharma throughout his entire life. Why should we ever neglect this Shastra? Krishna Ramala Seva Labhi Senara Seva Sukhi Magnaraha Sada Krishna Para. Such a man, being fully devoted to Sri Sri Radha, Krishna, Yugal Kishore, and having attained their Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate, loving service. So this is the goal. This is the prayogen. And it's all contained within this remarkable treatise, this remarkable doctrine of this Jaiva Dharma. 40 chapters. The first 12 are cementing the platform of Sambandha Gyan, many examples of individuals connecting their focus in service to Sri Krishna. We had, first of all, Sannyasi Thakur, who becomes Vaishnava Das. Then we have Lari Mahashai, and he becomes Advaita Babaji, and all the different personalities whose hearts become changed by this philosophy. And then, starting from the 13th chapter, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is directly speaking to the greater audience. He's giving us this Das Mula Tattva, the 10 ontological truths, 9 prameyas, supported by the Amnaya, supported by the evidence of Shastra. So this is a most remarkable treatise that he's gifted, as well as discovering, unveiling the holy places, etc., as well as writing so many books and giving us the focus. So I said at the very beginning of our study, if our hearts are becoming attracted to this great Mahashai, this great personality of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then he will give his mercy through our attentive reading of this subject matters that he's giving us. We want his mercy to understand these topics, especially today, because these topics that we discussed yesterday, this Brahm Parinamvad is what we discussed yesterday. We're in the 18th chapter. We're going to start today on page 409. But just to drop back for a second to 406, just to clarify if there was any misunderstanding or not clear, because it was very dense yesterday what we were discussing. We were discussing Brahm Parinamvad initially. And the question Brajanath asks it was about Parinam. Parinam means transformation. That's what the word means. Parinam means transformation. So Brahm Parinamvad was rejected by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Brahm means Krishna, everything connected with Krishna. It means the supreme whole. I said this at the beginning, that the word Brahm is going to be in different contexts, understood differently. So Brahm Parinamvad means that Krishna himself is transforming himself into this creation, into the worlds. And this is erroneous. And I just want to recap that part explicitly so that we're all fully conversant with this truth fully. So on page 406, on the second paragraph down, Rajana asks, what is vikar? Babaji is answering rhetorically. He says, what is vikar? It is just something appearing to be what it actually is not. This is vikar also means transformation, change, like parinam means change. For example, milk is transformed into yogurt. Although yogurt is milk, it is called yogurt. And this yogurt is the vikar or modification. So we can say, for simplicity, vikar is modification. It's similar to transformation, but modification. And the original substance in this case is milk. Now, this part I want to reiterate. According to the Brahm Parinamvad, the material world and the jivas are the modification or vikar of Brahm. Krishna himself is modifying to become the jivas and this world. Without any doubt, this idea is absolutely impure for the following reasons. Those who put forward this theory accept the existence of only one substance, namely the Nirvishesh Brahm. They're not accepting all the variegated aspects of the Lord, qualities, form, etc. They're just imagining this is just Nirvishesh Brahm that is transforming, that is modifying into this world. How can this Brahm be modified into a second substance? This is the point. How can this singular Brahm, this Nirvishesh Brahm they imagine, be modified, be changed into a separate substance if nothing else exists apart from it? If there's only that Nirvishesh Brahm, how can it be manifest as something else? Where is something else coming from? The theory itself does not allow for modification of Brahm. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is conclusively purifying this um, apasiddhanta, in fact, this Brahm Parinam Vad is not supported by Shastra. It's a very important point because all of these sampradayas, they hovered was exemplified, but they hadn't understood this Shakti Parinambha, which is what we discussed yesterday. So it's the Shakti is making all the effects of the sun. It's not the sun itself, it's the heat of the sun that is creating the effects. So it's Shakti that is creating these effects. So we have to appreciate this. And then yesterday we reached page 409 and we discussed the beautiful verse that Jiva Goswami gives, and where he describes this unique characteristic of the absolute truth in four features. Very powerful verse. I'm going to read the translation one more time. The absolute truth is one. His unique characteristics is that he's endowed with inconceivable potency. It's inconceivable, as we've said so many times, through which he is always manifested in four ways. One, Swarup, in his original form. Two, Tadrup Vaibhav, his personal splendor, including his abode and his eternal associates, expansions, and avatars. Three, Jivas, as the individual spirit souls. And four, Pradhan, as the material energy. So these four aspects are there manifesting from the absolute truth. These four features are likened to the interior of the sun planet. The interior of the sun planet is Suryadev's abode. It's different from the rest of the planet in one sense. The surface of the sun planet, the sun rays emanating from the surface, again, there's a distinction, and a remotely situated reflection, respectively. So these four distinctions about the absolute reality just make it very much more simple for us to understand, not to understand, but to get some sort of a picture of why we are here, how we got here, what is our environment here. All of this inspires the heart with great reverence and veneration for that personality who has manifested this entire creation. It takes our shraddha much, much deeper by understanding or hearing these topics repeatedly. These examples only partially explain the absolute truth. His original form is Satchidananda, full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, and his spiritual name, abode, associates, and the entire paraphernalia in his direct service are opulences that are non-different from himself. His opulences are non-different from himself. Swarup Vaibhav. The countless Nitya Mukta and Nitya Bada Jivas are dependent conscious atoms, anuchit. Those are in the rays emanating. Pradhan includes Maya Pradhan, and its products are the entire gross and subtle material worlds. When we hear these truths, it's just like hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. It just creates the um, desire for mercy from that Supreme Person to understand, to how to inspire this devotion in the heart to that Supreme Person. These four features exist eternally. And similarly, the oneness of the Supreme Absolute is also two eternal contradictions exist together. The answer is that it seems impossible to the limited intelligence of the jiva, and it is only possible through Bhagavan's inconceivable energy. So again, the jiva has to submit and appreciate his limited material intelligence. But if we accept our limitations, but we are very eager to render service to that Supreme Lord, then he will give us the required ability to appreciate these subject matters much deeper. This is our goal. This is our path. Our focus is attaining the mercy of the Lord to come to the Lord in devotion. This is what we are praying for. All our acharyas are praying for this devotion to manifest in the heart. We've just said in the last verse of this Falshruti, this Amala Prem Seva, this is the prayojan, this service to the Supreme Lord. So now today we're coming to this subject matter. Rajanath, what is Vivartavard? So we've heard what is Brahm Parinam and what is Shakti Parinam. These two words are described on the sheet we sent on the WhatsApp yesterday very clearly. So now we come to Vivartavad, and to understand this. It's important to understand this because this is the platform of the Mayavadis. And if we understand their platform and understand how to purify that platform, then we can be strong representatives of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. And for our own purification, have no doubts about the Savishesh, or the personal path to the Lord in devotion. And then, therefore, understand the nature of Braja Prem, Braja Dham, this Dham, Madhurya Dham. It's not entirely so easy, but these doubts and our ignorances have to be purified and dispelled. Babaji, there is some reference to Vivartavard in the Vedas, but that is not Vivartavard. So there's a reference to it, but it's not the Vivartavad that's been spoken of here, which is Mayavad. Vivartavad means Mayavad. Sri Sankaracharya has interpreted the word Vivarta in such a way that Vivartavad has come to mean the same as Mayavad. Mayavad. The scientific meaning of the word Vivart is to atatovato nyata buddhya vivartam iti uda krita. Sadananda Vedanta Sar 49. Vivart is the influence of mistaking one thing for another. The jiva is an atomic spiritual substance, but when he is bewildered, he imagines chapters. The bewilderment is ignorance. Ignorance. So studying these topics is dispelling that ignorance, born of lack of knowledge, and it is the only example of Vivartavad found in the Vedas. Only example of Vivarta found in the Vedas. Someone may think, I am Brahmana, Ramanath Pandeya, the son of the Brahmana Sanatan Pandeya. And another may think, I am the sweeper, Madhua, son of sweeper, Harkua. But really, such thoughts are completely illusory. Our material identities are completely illusory. The jiva is an atomic spiritual spark and is neither Ramanath, Pandey, nor the sweeper, Madhua. It only seems to be so because he identifies with the body. As much as we identify the body, that much we are in illusion. The illusions of mistaking a rope for a snake and seeing silver in the reflection of a conch shell are similar examples. When we see the rope and we consider it a snake, it's an illusion. It's not actually a snake, it's a rope. But in our illusion, we're thinking it's a snake. And the silver reflection of a conch shell, it's not silver, it's a reflection. So similarly, this reflection of my vision, thinking, considering that this body, and it's so thick, It's such a deep conception, this Mayic covering that we have. We've said before that Lord Brahma, he puts these 5 coverings over the jiva, over his pure ego when he first comes into this world, so that he can enjoy matter. He hungrily wants to enjoy the material energy. And it's in the 12th chapter of the 3rd canto, verse 2. We've described this a number of times. They're called nascent engagements. He covers the jiva by the illusion that this he cannot understand this world. He's bewildered by his situation. Fear of death is there covering the jiva. He's afraid of death. He's afraid of losing this material body, which is an illusion anyway, but he's afraid of losing it. He becomes, because of his attachment to it. We have this verse, Bhayam dvitiya biniveshitam syat, that fear arises due to material absorption. So if I'm materially absorbed in my body, then I'm going to be fearful of losing my body. I'm going to be attached to that. And then he gives this anger after frustration. We become frustrated with fulfilling our various material desires and fall into the pits of these lower degrees of anger. And then this idea of false possession. We are thinking that this is my object, belongs to me. We're relating it with the illusory material body. So all these bewilderments, Lord Brahma, he covers the jiva with right at the very beginning. He doesn't like to do that. He gives up that body. He asks Krishna, what I feel unhappy with putting this covering over the jiva, but still the jiva has to be covered because his desire is so strong to try and enjoy matter. So understand, when we are in knowledge of our situation, our predicament, then surely it's easier for us to disentangle ourselves from it once we have the clarity of my position here. Um, the illusions, oh yes. The Vedas use various examples to try to convince the jivas to become free from this vivart, to become free from this illusion, the illusion of identifying oneself with this Mayic body. So the Vedas, of course, are filled with directives to become freed from this illusion. Mayavadis reject the true conclusions of the Vedas and establish a rather comical theory of Vivartavad. Now listen carefully. They say that the idea, I am Brahm, I am that Supreme Lord, is essential understanding, and the idea, I am a jiva, is Vivarta. So I am actually God, but this is illusion that I'm thinking I'm the body. You understand? That's how they think. This is Vivartavad, this is Mayavad. Erroneous understanding. The Vedic examples of Vivarta do not contradict Shakti Parinambad. Everything about Shakti Parinambad, that Shakti is transforming. Krishna's energy is transforming into the jivas. This is pure. Vedic examples of Vivarta do not contradict Shakti Parinambad at all. But the theory of Vivartavad, the Vedic examples of Vivart, illusion, do not contradict Shakti Parinambad. So it's a very subtle understanding. Do not contradict Shakti Parinambad at all. But the theory of Vivartavad that the Mayavadis put forward is simply foolish. The Mayavadis propose various types of Vivartavad, of which 3 are most common. 1. The soul is really Brahm, that means the Supreme, but he became bewildered into thinking himself to be an individual soul. This is an illusion that I'm this soul. That means I don't have an ultimate relationship with that Supreme Soul. It's a horrible philosophy. 2. The jivas are reflections of Brahm. 3. The jivas and the material world are just the dream of Brahm. So this is the concoction that Sankaracharya has used under the order of Krishna to bewilder those atheistic people who wanted to exploit the path of bhakti. It'll be explained. All these varieties of Vivartavad are false and contrary to Vedic evidence. Rajanath, what is this philosophy called Mayavad? I am unable to understand it. So he wants to understand it so he can be completely purified of any taint of that or contamination by that. Babaji, listen carefully. Listen carefully. Maya Shakti is the shadow of Swarup Shakti. It has no entrance into the spiritual kingdom, and it is the controller of the material world. Maya Devi has two aspects. We know there is Yoga Maya that is operating in the spiritual world, and there's Mahamaya that is operating in this world. And they're both serving the Lord. And this Maya Shakti is serving the Lord to keep the conditioned souls in illusion until he's purified sufficiently to recognize that Krishna is the object of devotion, not himself. This conditioned world is called the perverted reflection. It's perverted because the perversion is that I am simply focusing on myself at every single step of the day. I'm only thinking about me, situation, my happiness, my unhappiness, my hunger, my thirst, my satisfaction. It's only focusing on me. It's the most selfish mentality. But when that begins to purify in the association of saintly devotees, of Vaishnavas, of Guru, then the ghastly selfishness starts to become purified. And I start to look out at the world with great affection and compassion. Compassion will come in the heart of the jiva at that time, and he will want to assist other conditioned jivas out of this predicament. That's the path of the Vaishnava. When the jiva is overpowered by ignorance and illusion, he enters that material world. Spiritual things have no independent existence and are independently energetic. Sorry, I said that wrong. I thought that was wrong. Spiritual things have an independent existence, completely opposite to what I just said. Spiritual things have an independent existence. We've talked about the independence of the jiva, which gets him in all this trouble, it seems. But the jiva is independent, an independent existence, and are independently energetic because Krishna is independent. But Mayavad does not accept this. That's interesting. The Mayavads don't accept the independent aspect of the jiva. We think that we're connected with that Supreme Lord by illusion that was put there by the Lord, and we don't have any independence in this, in rectifying our situation. But Mayavad does not accept this. Instead, the Mayavad theory declares that the individual soul is itself Brahm. The individual soul is itself God, and only appears to be different from Brahm because of the influence of Maya. They consider this is an illusion that I'm different from God. We are a part of God. We're called Vibhinamsa. Vibhin means separated. We are a separated part of Krishna. So it's a very subtle concept that we need to appreciate deeply. Declares that the individual soul is itself Brahm and only appears to be different from Brahm because of the influence of Maya. This theory states that the jiva only thinks himself to be an individual entity, and that the moment the influence of Maya is removed, he understands that he is Brahm. And I've told you the example before of one yogi who went through his meditation and saw in a blue pearl a little boy, blue boy, and he thought, oh, that is me. That is the final illusion. Understands that he is Brahm. According to this conception, while under the influence of Maya, the atomic spiritual spark has no independent identity separate from Maya, and therefore the way of liberation for the jiva is nirvana. This is the Buddhistic direction, which is what Sankaracharya also propagated because he wanted to purify that conception with the support of the Shastras. We've said before that the uh, Lord Buddha, he pushed the Shastras out of India because he wanted to establish this philosophy of ahimsa, this non-violence. Um, According to this conception, while under the influence of Maya, the atomic spiritual spark has no independent identity separate from Maya, and therefore the way of liberation for the jiva is nirvana, or merging in Brahm. Mayavadis do not accept the separate existence of pure individual soul. Furthermore, they state that Bhagavan is subordinate to Maya and has to take shelter of Maya when he needs to come to this material world. They say this is because Brahm is impersonal and does not have any form, which means that he has to assume a material Mayic form in order to manifest himself in this world. His Ishvara aspect has a material body. His Ishvara aspect has a material body. The avatars accept material bodies and perform wonderful feats in this material world. In the end, they leave their material body in this world and return to their abode. So, this is completely erroneous. Mayavadis show a little kindness towards Bhagavan, for they accept some difference between the jiva and the avatars of Ishvara. The distinction they make is that the jiva has to accept a gross body because of his past karma. This karma carries him away, even against his wishes, and he is forced to accept birth, old age, and death. The Mayavadis say that Ishwara's body, designation, name, and qualities are also material, but that he accepts them of his own accord, and that whenever he desires, he can reject everything and regain his pure spirituality. He is not forced to accept the reactions resulting from the activities that he performs. These are all misconceptions of the Mayavadis. Understand all this? They believe Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving some concession here because they say when the avatars accept a body, they are not subjected to karma. And that's a fact. Bhagavan himself is never subjected to karma in any time. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving them some credit here. We have to know all of the intricacies of this subject matter so that whenever necessary, these misconceptions, when they come up, and they won't come up in a philosophical way that is being presented here, but gradually we will have realization of these topics. Rajanath is very important. No, Mayavad cannot be found anywhere in the Vedas. Kal, Brahmana, Murti, they were abusing the path of bhakti, asuras. In short, by polluting the path of devotional service, the path should be freed from this pollution. Thinking thus, he called an asuric person two aspects of an asuric person. They want to control and they want to create fear around you. We can pick very, very quickly that kind of atmosphere when we come in a fearful situation, control others rather than spread. Okay. um, I remain concealed from them. Those it's Mayavad imagined path. They're following these teachings of Sankaracharya. They don't want to follow the Guru Varga. They still want the original conception that we had from the Brahmajyoti, from the Chit Shakti, when we had in the Tatashta, to be like God, to enjoy this world. This is essentially how this Mayavad has manifested. We want to usurp the position of the Lord for our own indulgence in this world. Sri Mahadev, who is the supreme Vaishnava, was at first somewhat reluctant to accept such an arduous task and with which Bhagavan had entrusted him. However, considering this to be his order, he therefore preached the Mayavad philosophy. So you see how much of a non-Mayavad is actually Sankaracharya. Even though the task was difficult, any opportunity to serve the Lord, just like drinking the poison from the churning of the ocean of milk, was not a pleasant task for she would perform that activity. Similarly, in the form of Sankaracharya, he took wholeheartedly to this task of convincing the jivas of an authorized path of Mayavad to realize themselves as being God, because that's what they wanted. That's what they were hungry for. And they were disturbing the devotees by using the strength of bhakti to achieve or to try to achieve that end. The path of bhakti was becoming clouded with so many asuric um, conceptions coming in. So it had to be distinct. So now we as devotees, we talk about the Mayavads. So this is the description of in Bhagavatam all the way through. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is talking continuously about the Mayavads. The Mayavads are those who want to exploit Krishna's energy for their own satisfaction without serving the Lord. They haven't developed sufficient Sukriti and Sanskar to understand their total insignificance in this world and the greatness of the Lord and their ability to serve the Lord. Sri Mahadev, who is the supreme Vaishnava, was at first somewhat reluctant to accept such an arduous task with which Bhagavan had entrusted him. However, considering this to be his order, he therefore preached the Mayavad philosophy. Where is the fault of Sriman Mahadev, the supreme guru, in this? The entire universe functions smoothly like a well-oiled machine under the guidance of Bhagavan, who expertly wields in his hand the splendid Sudarshan Chakra for the well-being of all creatures. How beautiful Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing here. Only he knows what auspiciousness is hidden in his order, and the duty of the humble servants is simply to obey his order, simply to obey the Lord's order. This is the beginning of our devotion, Sharanagat, the beginning. Knowing this, the pure Vaishnavas never find any fault in Sankaracharya, Shiva's incarnation, who preached Mayavad. Listen to the evidence from Shastra for this. Tvam aradhye tata shambho grahasyami varam sada dvarpado yuge bhutva kalya manu sadishu. Swagamai kalpitais vancha janam madvi mukam kru mancha gopya yena syat shristir isam is Isan o Tarantara, Padma Purana, Uttarakhand, 4209, 1010, and Narad Pancharatra, 422930. Vishnu said, O Shambhu, although I am Bhagavan, still I have worshipped different devatas and devis to bewilder the asuras. In the same way, I shall worship you as well and receive a benediction. In the same way, I shall worship you as well and receive a benediction. In Kali Yuga, you should incarnate amongst human beings through your partial expansion. You should preach from Shastra like Agama and fabricate a philosophy that will distract the general mass of people away from me and keep me covered. In this way, more and more people will be diverted away from me. My pastimes will become all the more valuable. If the pastimes are just thrown out in the street without proper um, acknowledgement of the potency of them, without proper understanding of what is the tattva and truth, just like today, if we have sahajiyas who try to exploit for their own pleasure Krishna's pastimes and imagining themselves to be more realized in their soul. And they might imagine what is their sarup and be preaching from a platform which they're not actually on. And therefore, this will cause great confusion and great disturbance to the consciousness of the jivas. So we have to be versed clearly in all these truths so we don't fall into any disturbance or confusion. We have to wake up to the situation in the world. It's fraught with dangers, so to speak, of individuals who are preaching apasidantic conclusions. And only by taking shelter of this Jaiva Dharma can we be reassured of the absolute truth. This is the beauty and generosity of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, going to so much trouble for us to write out so clearly these explanations. So we're humbly offering our obeisances again and again to this Shastra of Jaiva Dharma. In Kali Yuga, you should incarnate amongst human beings through your partial expansion. You should preach the Shastra like Agama and fabricate a philosophy that will distract the general mass of people away from me and keep me covered. In this way, more and more people will be diverted away from me, and my pastimes will become all the more valuable. The Varaha Purana, Bhagavan tells Shiva, Esha Moham Srijami Ashu Ye Janam Maha, Maha, Moha Yishyati Tvancha Rudra Mahashaho Mohon Shastrani Karya Atatyani Vitatyani Dashayaspa Mahabhuja Prakasham Kuru Chat Manap Prakashanka Mam Kuru. I am creating the kind of illusion, moha, that will delude the mass of people. O strong armed Rudra, you also create such a deluding Shastra. Krishna's deluding potency was in the form of Buddhism. He had another idea also in manifesting as Lord Buddha, was to curtail the killing of animals. This was very important, but at the same time, he planted the seeds of this Mayavad erroneous conception. O mighty armed one, present present fact as falsehood, and falsehood as one. Amazing, amazing description here of Acharya. So we'll just finish this portion. Brajanath, is there any Vedic evidence against the Mayavad philosophy? Babaji, all the testimony of the Vedas refutes Mayavad philosophy. The Mayavadis have searched all the Vedas and isolated 4 sentences in their support. They call these 4 sentences Mahavakya, the illustrious statements. These 4 statements are Sarvam Kalo Idam Brahm. All the universe is Brahm. They interpret this to mean you are Brahm and I am Brahm. All the universe is Brahm. They've just taken this one out of the Vedas and they're saying it's all Brahm. You're Brahm and I'm Brahm. This is the Parinam Vad, which is Mayavad or Vivartavad. Pragnanam Brahm. The supreme knowledge is Brahm. This one particular. Yes, it's true that supreme knowledge is Brahm, but we are not a part of Brahm the way that they are presenting it. This is from the Aitatreya Upanishad 153. Tattvam asi Svetkato. O Svetkatu, you are that. Yes, we are that in the sense that we have the same particle. We've discussed this in Jiva Tattva. We are different and non-different to Krishna. We have that same chit spark, but we don't have the quantity whatsoever that the Supreme Lord has. So this sentence has been isolated from the Vedas. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahm. I am Brahm. I am that person himself. I am a part of Brahm. Yes, I have the same independence as Brahm. We've described we have these 10 qualities, the same as Brahm, but in a minuscule way. So the Mayavad has not focused on the huge distinction, difference. He's focused on the similarity and saying that he is God. Ultimately, they want to try and enjoy this world. It's a tragic situation for the conditioned souls. And when we understand this philosophy, we so much want to purify any Mayavad contamination so that the conditioned soul can actually regain his pure Amala Prem Seva. With these um, following these apparent Mahavakyas is going to take you to hell. The first Mahavakya teaches existing of the living beings and non-living matter is Brahm. Nothing exists that is not Brahm. The identity of that Brahm is explained elsewhere. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. Na tat samash shabyadikash cha drishyate. Parasya shaktir vivadaiva shuryate. Swabhaviki Gyan Bala Kriya Cha. Sveta Upanishad 678. None of the activities of that Parabrahm, Paramatma, is mundane, because none of his senses, such as his hands and legs, is material. Thus, through the medium of his transcendental body, he performs his pastimes without any material senses, and he is present everywhere at the same time. Therefore, no one is even equal to him, what to speak of being greater than him. The one divine potency of Parameshwara has been described in Shruti in many ways, among which the description of his Gyan Shakti, knowledge, and Bal Shakti, power, and his Kriya Shakti, potency for activity, are most important. These are also called Chit Shakti or Sangvit Shakti, Sat Shakti and Sandini Shakti, and Ananda Shakti or Hladini Shakti, respectively. So we'll stop there, and tomorrow we can read again this amazing translation because we're covering a lot of ground, actually. But we're purifying these misconceptions, and we know why these misconceptions are there in the heart of the jiva, because he wants to exploit matter. And it creates an asuric tendency. It creates a demonic mentality, just like our demonic governments today are only concerned with the exploitation of the populace. It's the same dynamic. And they're trying to get fat off the hard work of the populace generally. They're not like the ancient Raja Rishis, Yudhisthira Maharaj, etc., who had this great benevolence and fatherly mood towards the populace to protect them, to provide for them, to give them all the material facilities for their sojourn in this world, as well as give them guidance in Shastra. But these demonic governments today are completely the opposite. They're just trying to exploit more and more of the people's, resources. So this is our situation today. So Jaiva Dharma ki jai. Many points, but we're going quite quickly. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams. Jaiva Dharma ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Patitanam Pavanavyo, Vaishnavena Namaha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, and Jaiva Dharma ki jai. Go Premanande. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavevacha, Patitanam Pavanavyo, Vaishnavena